Hey everyone, Off the Cuff Reviews here. My name is Alex and today I have a special new video. We're going to be doing something a little different that I haven't done on this channel before. We're going to be comparing a book to a movie. So let's get into it. So this is a new series that I'm going to be starting with this video where I compare books that I read to the actual movie. I just finished reading The Shining and I had seen the movie like literally so many times. I actually already read Dr. Sleep. I read Dr. Sleep before the movie came out. I really liked it, but I hadn't read The Shining, and it's because I'm just like a little weird about reading books, especially I don't know, but school was like really annoying for me where like, cause they would just try to get you to read these horrible books that like I didn't care about. So I never liked reading because they would force you to read those stupid books. So now that I live with Ashley, she collects horror books and I love horror. So why not? I decided to start reading it, and I figured, why not start with The Shining? Because I know The Shining story in and out. I mean, I haven't read the book, but the movie, I know it in and out. I love it. It's one of my favorite movies. So I figured, let's read the book. So I just grabbed this copy off the shelf. We actually have multiple copies. This is the collector's edition. I didn't actually read this copy of it because I grabbed the other one that we have. It's kind of crappy and it's ripped, so I didn't want to show that off on camera, but I wanted to show this cool version that we have. We have a bunch of collector's editions of Stephen King books, so that's really cool. I just finished reading this the other day, and it definitely, let's just say, differs from the movie. There are so many elements in this book that are left out of the movie. And after rewatching the movie again recently, you can just get, like, if you really pay attention, you can feel how chaotic and how rushed the production was for this movie. It feels like, I mean, I was hearing stories that they were rewriting the script on set, and that, I mean, it feels like that. But with that said, I think that the movie is still really good. It's one of my favorite horror movies. But it leaves out so many cool elements from the book. Like the hotel in the book, it's its own character. It has life. It has a personality that's completely left out of the movie. And there's so many elements of in the movie that are in the book that are left out of the movie, where like it goes into detail about certain things, why things are happening, whereas the movie just kind of leaves you asking questions and not answering anything. It literally is a major plot point in the book that the hotel has life and a personality, and it's basically its own character. And in the movie, they tried to showcase the hotel in a really cool way, and I think that it was really cool and innovative what they did with it, but I don't think that it even comes close to the book in that aspect. In the book, they go into so much detail about the actual hotel and what is going on there and why it's happening, that like it just doesn't get explored in the movie. And I've literally seen people like literally ask like these questions about the like after watching the movie and being like, oh, like, well, why does this happen, or what's happening with this? Ooh. And then it's like, if you just read the book, then you'll know. Then you don't have any questions anymore. There's no questions. And some of the cool things about the book are all the supernatural elements that Stephen King adds to the story. Like there's these things that come alive in the book that aren't explored in the movie at all. Maybe it's because the movie was ahead of its time. It came out in the early 80s, and maybe that's because, or maybe the reason why they didn't have so many of these extra supernatural elements was because of like stupid limitations or something. I know that there was limitations for Stanley Kubrick for some of his other movies. A Space Odyssey, 2001: A Space Odyssey. He was trying to recreate Saturn's rings for that movie, wasn't able to because the movie came out in like the 60s or something. Like he didn't have the technology to be able to do that. So maybe that's why there wasn't as many supernatural elements. I don't know. I'm just trying to justify it, I guess. But I feel like if you guys have any questions like left after watching the movie, you should go read the book because it will answer those questions and then some. And I love the movie. Don't get me wrong. It's literally one of my favorite horror films of all time. I think Kubrick is a stellar director, and I think I might even do a deep dive into the movie at some point on this channel. But I feel like what he did with the movie was make it a little bit more grounded, more realistic than what the book portrays. Because like I said, there's a lot of supernatural, paranormal elements in the book. And I think that might be why Stephen King doesn't like the movie as much, because I feel like he left out so many cool elements from the book and kind of made it his own thing that like maybe Stephen King didn't really appreciate that, which I totally understand. But I think that there are really cool elements about the movie still, like the tracking shots, the long tracking shots are just impeccable. The book also goes into the backstory of Jack Torrance a little bit, where there's so many elements into his character and who he is and why his mind is the way it is. And it's not really explored that much in the movie. It's kind of like hinted at, but it's not really, they don't really go into detail about Jack Torrance. And there's so many things in the book that are like, honestly, like jarring to read about. Some people might even be triggered by reading some of the things that he wrote about Jack Torrance in the book. One thing that I didn't like about the book compared to the movie, especially, I feel like I've noticed this about a couple of Stephen King's books that I've read, is that he adds these like weird romantic elements, especially like sex scenes, and they don't need to be in there. I mean, some of them, yeah, okay, like maybe what you can write whatever you want, obviously. Stephen King is a weird guy. He writes some weird stories, and I like that about him. I like that he incorporates like some like weird sex scene, but this wasn't what I was expecting. There's a whole scene in this where literally after already like Jack Torrance is already unraveling and going crazy like in the movie, he just like everything just switches and then they start having sex, and it was just a weird juxtaposition where like you just like randomly throw a sex scene in the middle of like this like thrilling scene. Like I don't want to read that. I'm not trying to read this like romance side plot right now. I want to get into like the nitty gritty elements of this. Come on. And I feel like he does that a lot in his books. But overall, if you guys want some more backstory on what happens in the movie, then read the book. You don't have to read the book to watch the movie. The movie explains a lot of stuff, but if you want more detail, and if you have any questions, it will definitely be answered in the book. So go ahead and check it out. You will truly understand what is happening, why it's happening, why like Danny Torrance is so affected by the hotel and things like that. It really goes into detail in the book. But like I said, don't get me wrong, the movie is phenomenal. The directing is stellar. The performances are stellar. I mean, there's so many tracking shots that are so good, like long tracking shots, the acting, and like he really pushed the limit with this movie, I think. But I love both. And I think they're companion pieces, but I think this one has more detail. So I'll leave you with that. If you guys want more detail, go check out the book. But with that said, that was my review of The Shining and the comparison of the book to the movie. If you guys want more content like this, leave a comment down below. And if you guys want to support this channel in any way, go ahead and check out my online store where I have a bunch of art and merch and different things on there. Go ahead and check it out. It really helps a lot because that's how we're funding this. So let's get it. I'll see you guys on the flip side. Stay safe, everybody. Thanks for watching.